Dr. Luyolo, welcome back to BRICS Africa Channel. Last time we met with the Mining Indaba, and we are here at the Manufacturing Indaba. What is your Indaba with CSIR today?
All right, thanks, Ayanda. And it's good to see you guys again. Today, the CSIR is looking into the manufacturing Indaba, showcasing technologies that can revitalize the manufacturing sector within South Africa. We're looking across various value chains on the technologies that can be implemented, starting from mineral beneficiation to exciting and revitalizing the downstream sector by producing the raw material that are feeder into powder atomization. From the powders, how we can then use these powders to do metal 3D printing and produce metallic components which then can service industry. I think what's critical for us is that we focus mainly on high-value manufacturing and how we can use high-value manufacturing to revitalize our industry in South Africa. And of course, if manufacturing industry is revitalized, as you know it will create more economic value because you get all the service industries that support it, which creates more jobs into the economy.
There is a special economic zone, the VAL, which used to thrive in industry and manufacturing. I see it's been revived. Are you guys looking into partnering with the Gauteng development agencies, vision of the MEC to do this?
Of course, as CSIR, we want to participate in as many special economic zones as possible. We are aware of the work that is happening in the VAL with their economic zone. We had engagements, though it's still at the initial stages, with the Gauteng Department of Economic Development, where they will be coming for a second visit to the CSIR, and we introduce them to some of the technologies that we think will assist to revitalize the region. As you are aware, VAL Triangle has mostly been anchored around steel manufacturing. And there is work, of course, that we do as a cluster to look at how do we revitalize the steel industry, including looking at technologies for green steel, as an example. But we also look at, if you look at the SEZ itself, there is a lot of opportunities to optimize and become more efficient. So we have technologies around putting 4IR assessments, digital tool technologies where we can look at factory layouts. We have other technologies around sensors to ensure that there's safety and we're able to monitor what is happening. So those are some of the engagements that we will be having with the Gauteng Economic Development. And as I said, we did have an initial discussion with the team, but we're hoping that with secondary and more discussions, we'll be able to unpack what value we think we can bring into the partnerships.
Today I noticed that you're displaying some of your 3D printing work. Take us more about them.
So at the CSIR, we are looking from metal laser melting point of view. We're developing metal 3D printing machines. Currently in South Africa, we are importing all these machines, bar one or two organizations that are actually making smaller versions of the machines. 3D printing is very important for South Africa because we are at the southern tip of Africa. It means for us, we have legacy equipment where they don't have spares. And 3D printing gives you the ability to print that spare on demand. So we look at component manufacturing, we look at printing spare parts on demand, and over and above, we are also looking at building indigenous metal 3D printers for the South African market, which we want to industrialize. However, it's also important to understand that having a metal 3D printing machine and importing the feedstock is also going to create its own challenges, which is why we're also looking at technologies to develop our own metallic powders, which will be feeder into the metal 3D printers. That metallic powder will also be feeder to other powder metallurgy processes so that we are able to revitalize the industry and we are able to make more high-value components within the country that we can also eventually export to other countries.
And to the manufacturing and the entrepreneurs that are here, why would you say that they should come and visit you by Monday so that their solutions can be really met for high-value goods?
CSIR was one of the members of a consortium that managed to build ventilators, 18,000 of them, within 6 months. That shows the advanced product development capability that sits with CSIR. It means coming from an idea to a final product. If we can do 18,000 in 6 months, and this is just one of the examples, we've built machines for mining industry, which are now deployed in the mining sector. We've built precision engineering machines. We were one of the countries that built the first, largest and fastest metal 3D printer in the world. So our capabilities are above. And if you think of the skills that we have at CSIR, not just around product development, but other supporting skills that we would require. The team at CSIR, we're looking at plus minus 2,300 strongholds, which then we are able to pull from other clusters within CSIR to get complementary skills. For an example, if we require electronic engineers, we can pull from other clusters. So we've got a variety of skills that you would never find in one institution within South Africa. And that is the unique position of the CSIR.
And a great asset to the country that our entrepreneurs are not optimizing on.
Correct. So we do look at how do we take some of the ideas from the entrepreneurs, look at funding partners that we can work together with to unlock some of the talent. South Africa doesn't lack ideas. I think one of our issues is we like starting things and stopping. And with CSIR, we've shown that when we start something, we take it through to the end. Because that's where economic value is. And I think if more entrepreneurs start to look at how do we then bring business, because having an idea and not understanding how to look at the market, how to do market analysis, is not going to assist. So at least at CSIR, we look at it holistically because we look at it from a business point of view. If this is something that will help society, how are we going to commercialize it? What is our go-to strategies? What will be our value proposition to industry? Because we don't only want to make Me Too's, but we also want to make things that are unique to South Africa, that South Africa can bring to the world, and also bring to the world economically, so that we are able to sell it to other countries in a much more economic manner. Because obviously we know price points are quite important. So by optimizing all of these things, we are looking at it in a more holistic environment when it comes to CSR. We've got the capabilities for techno-feasibility assessments, so which means that if you're developing a technology, you're not just looking at the technology, but you're also looking at what does the market want, user requirements. You're looking at what is the price point that the market is looking to get it at. We're looking at things like what are the features, basic features they need, and what are the enhanced features that will be needed. What will be version 1? What is our product that will be unique that we can take to market, and what are the plans to further develop? So most of the work that we've done, that we've licensed to industry, we still continue to further develop in-house so that it stays with that competitive edge, so that the market doesn't catch up, but they still stay as leaders into the market.
Dr. Luyolo, thank you for joining us on BRICS Africa Channel.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.